Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Madeline and this is Made with Books. And today I'm doing a monthly TBR and don't get used to these because I'm horrible with doing TBRs and then sticking to them. So I don't know how much fun this will be to watch if you're looking to hear all of my opinions on these books at the end of the month, because I can't make any promises. But seeing as I have a lot of books that are planned out for certain events in March, I wanted to do a March TBR anyway. So I have one buddy read scheduled for March, and that is actually my second buddy read. The first one I did with Mark, and we read the Iliad together, and I should say he read the Iliad and I am still somewhere in the middle and very far behind. Sorry. Oh, by the way, Mark from Words Everywhere. But he's a wonderful buddy reader and apparently I am not. So this month I'm buddy reading with Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading, who by now is probably afraid. Sorry, Kelly. And I hope I will do better. And we are reading Go Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin. And I've only read a few short essays by James Baldwin, and that was last year, and it was in one of those little penguin collections. I think it's called Dark Days. And so this will be my first fiction work by him, and this is actually his first novel. And the back doesn't give a lot away, but from what I can tell, it's about a move from the rural south to the northern ghettos, and also it's between two different generations, and about, yeah, like life in the US at whatever time this is set. So I'm not sure what time this is set. I don't know, if it's set the time it was originally written, then that would be in the 1950s. So I will have to see how this one goes, and I'm looking forward to reading this with Kelly, and I will link her channel down below as well. And I hope I do a better job at buddy reading this month. And then there's two events I want to participate in. One is the Irish Readathon, and the other one is the marching of the Mammoths. And I'll start with the Irish Readathon. And the Irish Readathon is a month-long readathon dedicated to reading Irish literature, of course, and it is hosted by Leanne Rose, by Iofi, and I hope I'm not butchering her name, if so I'm sorry, but her channel name is Fred Weasley Died Laughing, and also by Elaine Howlin. And I'm not gonna do all of the challenges, but there are challenges, so I'll just read them out to you. And challenge number one is to read a book by an Irish female writer, and this one is not super high on my priority list, but I would be happy if I get to it, and that is The Gathering by Anne Enright. And this has won the Man Booker Prize in 2007, and all I know is it's about a family gathering. One of the brothers has passed away, and he has passed away because of something that has happened years and years ago. And I think it's things from the past are being dug up in this book. And yeah, I've heard a lot of really good things about this, so I'll look forward to reading it. And then challenge, or no, not challenge, but prompt number two is to read a book by one of the host's favorite authors, and those are Sarah Rees Brennan, Louise O'Neill, or Marian Keyes. Now, I don't have any books by any of these authors, so I'm gonna skip this challenge, even though I would like to at some point read something by Louise O'Neill, because she sounds great. But yeah, I just wanted to mention the challenge as well. And then challenge number three is to read an Irish book that isn't a novel. And for this I'm gonna read something by Oscar Wilde. I'm not gonna read the entire book. And this also has The Picture of Dorian Gray, which I have read and love. But it also has a lot of his plays and some of his short stories. And I want to read some at least one or maybe all of the short stories in here that I haven't read yet. And the ones I haven't read are Lord Arthur Saville's Crime, The Sphinx Without a Secret, and the model millionaire. So I don't know, I'll have to see to how many of these I will get. And the next challenge is to read an Irish book that is older than you, and I think the Oscar Wilde book qualifies for that, but I also have another one that also fulfills the 5th challenge, and that is to read a book with green on the cover, and that is Jonathan Swift, The Major Works. Again, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there's a little green bow on the cover if you can see that, if the camera picks that up. And I would like to read A Modest Proposal, which also works for something that isn't a novel, and it's older than me. It's from 1729 and there's green on the cover, so I got all of those covered. And the book that actually is my priority for Irish literature for the month is not covered by any of those challenges, but is on my 30 books to read until I'm 30 list, and I will link that video down below as well, and that is The Sea by John Benville, and I've talked about it in that video, so I'm not gonna get into it here. And those are all the books that I hope to, or texts that I hope to read for the Irish Readathon. And then the other month-long readathon that is going on is the March of the Mammoth, and this one has been created by Jason from All Blues Chapter and Verse, by Alex from Big L Books, and by Lukash from Totally Pretentious, and I will link all of their announcement videos as well as the announcement videos for the Irish Readathon down below. And March of the Mammoth is sort of in reference to Tome Topple, and Tome Topple is a 2-week readathon that is hosted here on BookTube and aims at reading books that are at least 500 pages. And Marching of the Mammoth takes that a whole step further, and Mammoth books are defined as having 800 pages or more. So quite the challenge. Now I don't anticipate that I will read more than one book, but I have a few choices here that I wanted to show. I think I will hopefully definitely pick up one of the books that also is on my 30 until 30 list, and there's 3 books on that list that are over 800 pages. The first one being very obviously Les Miserables by Victor Hugo, and this edition has 1463 pages. So I'm wondering, do I have to read the whole book to have participated in Marching of the Mammoth, or do I have just to get to page 800? But maybe I'll start this one, and if I don't feel like this one, Gargantua and Pantagruel by François Rabelais would also cover this challenge, and this has 864 pages, with footnotes I should say, but even without footnotes it's longer than 800 pages. So yeah, that would be a classic, another classic. And another one, if I don't want to read French literature but Italian instead, would be Giovanni Boccaccio's The Decameron. And this is, in my edition it's split in 2 books, but I mean technically it's one, and together these make up over 800 pages. And I mean, this might be nice because it's individual stories these people are telling each other, so that might be an easier attempt to read 800 plus page book, but I'll see which one I'll end up picking. And then I have 2 more books that I could potentially read for this, but I don't know, maybe I'll just read a little bit in one of them. I'll have to see how things go. One is a non-fiction, and that is Mao, the Unknown Story. This is the German edition though, and this is by Jung Chan and Jon Halliday, and it's a biography of Mao Zedong, the Chinese, well, former Chinese leader. And he was the leader of communist China for a very long time, and this is all about how he rose to power, how he stayed in power, and about his life. And I mean, his regime was horrific and so many people died. And I've actually started this in non-fiction November last year and got to page 90, but this with footnotes and all has 975 pages, so I'm still I still have a long ways to go, and still have over 800 pages to go in here. And then the last book I would be interested in picking up, if not this month, at some point in the year, is The Kindly Ones by Jonathan Littell. Again, this is the German edition, and originally it was published in French, and I'm not gonna attempt to say the French title, I'll spare you that. And this is the fictional story of a former Nazi officer, a high-ranking Nazi officer who's a fictional character though. And you get the story from his perspective, and he has managed to create a new life for himself after the end of World War II, and has reinvented himself, and he's actually very intellectual and intelligent, but he also committed all these horrible war crimes. And he, in this book, tells the story from his perspective on World War II and on the Holocaust and all these crimes that were committed by the Nazis. And I think this will be an incredible read, a really hard one at that. And I looked up the English title on Goodreads and read a short description of it in English as well, and said it's morally challenging. And I can imagine that it is, because you're reading from the perspective of a Nazi officer, and that can't be easy. And it ended with a sentence that I wanted to just read out, and it said, "It holds a mirror up to humanity, and the reader cannot look away." And that just, it sounds incredible. I have owned this book for a very long time. I bought this way back when I finished high school, and wanted to read it back then. And I have started it before, and I have stopped reading it twice fairly early, but not because it wasn't written well, but just because of time issues, because this is a big commitment. And the beginning was incredibly well written, and I think the book is going to be amazing. But again, this is a chunker, and this clocks in at, with notes and everything, at 1,383 pages. So I don't know if I will save this for December instead or something. I will see, but I wanted to mention it just the same. And yeah, I think I will end up just picking up one of those giant books. I don't know if I really find that I have all this amazing amounts of time, which I doubt. I might pick up a second one. We'll have to see. So yeah, those are all the books that are on my radar for March. I tend to pick up other books as I go along, but I didn't want to make this list any longer than it already is. So those are all the books that I'm going to mention, and I'll wrap this up here. And yeah, all the information on these read-alongs will be linked down below. I will say there's also other read-alongs and readathons going on in March. Steve Donahue has made a video, and he's doing a read-along of Pride and Prejudice, so if you haven't read Pride and Prejudice yet, do so. And actually, if you have, according to Steve Donahue, still read it again and zip it. And normally I would love to, but I'm doing these other two readathons, so I'm not going to do that. And he's also doing some other read-alongs of classic Roman literature as well, which sound really great. There's also March Mystery Madness and Middle Grade March. And so if you don't want to read Irish literature, or you don't want to read super long books, maybe those are read-alongs or readathons that you want to look out for. So I just wanted to mention those real quick. So yeah, if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, and even better, leave a comment so we can chat down below. What are you reading in the month of March? And I will see you next time. Thanks guys, bye!